All right, it's so nice to be here again at Hustaf. It's always a pleasure. So, you don't know what you know until you find out. That's the theme of this speech today. And a couple of words about myself first. And so, I'm Jani. I come from Finland. I live in Tampere. I work with a company called Hidden Trail. I'm a co-founder of that company. Small QA consultancy or quality consultancy. We have now 19 people working with us, and we have a variety of people all the way from C-level to C-level, if you know what I mean. My role in the company is I find bugs in teams and ways of working, and I find bugs in organizations, how they develop their products. I try to help companies to build better digital products and also hardware products. So yes, that's about myself. All right, so the thing is that sometimes we think we know what the problem is, but we don't know the solution. Or sometimes we can put our finger to it, to the problem, but we know there's something wrong, right? Or sometimes we think the solution we have at hand is going to fix all the problems we have. And this is kind of background for what I'm going to talk about. The question is how to find the real reasons and find the real solutions to improve things, to improve quality and customer satisfaction and build better products, basically, and have better working teams and good relationship between people in the teams. So I'll start with a couple of theoretical backgrounds first, which are mainly systems thinking and also some design thinking, which is behind this method we have been using. So situational awareness is a thing about understanding your standing, where you are, in order to make decisions. So you need to know your surroundings, your context, where are you at the moment, in order to make some fairly judged decisions on how to move forward. And we need this understanding to predict the effect of our actions and how to move forward. A couple of words about confidence versus knowledge. We in QA field, as everyone else in the IT industry, we like tools. We like technical solutions to every problem we have. And I'm no stranger to that. And I think us Finns are as well good and bad with that as anyone else. So we are tempted to think that we already know the answers to every problem, but we might know not enough what are the reasons behind the problems, what are causing the problems in different contexts. So then that overconfidence might lead to usage of so-called best practices. So copy-pasting like existing solutions to every problem we encounter. So one part of this is the cognitive bias called Dunning-Kruger effect, where our confidence is really high on things we don't know enough about. So, but when our knowledge is growing, we start to understand that the more we know, the more aware we are that we don't know enough yet to make like really good decisions. So it's an important call to understand that without that understanding of a context, like a team or a product or a situation, you cannot really deliver value without that understanding. Yeah, about systems thinking. Of course, there are lots of literature about systems thinking, but I'll just pick up one tool from systems thinking field, which pardon me for butchering the Welsh word, but it's like Gunnafin or something like that. Sorry about that if there's any Welsh people around. But the systems thinking behind that gives us some tools to gather how to gather knowledge in different kind of situations or contexts to understand the environment. Where are we working? Where is our product working? Which is what kind of users does it have, for example? And Dave Snowden is behind this Knefin framework, which is about decision making, and he studied things like military squads and corporate teams and environments while he developed it in the 90s, and it describes these 5 domains of or contexts of environments where different kinds of problem solving and sense making methods are working the best. So these are clear, complicated, complex, and chaotic, and confusion. So here's a picture of that. And important here is to see that it's not like a coordinate structure. So these are more like folds on top of each other and touching each other. And if we start from the right-hand bottom side, there's a clear domain where you have problems like painting a wall, for example. So your problem is really clear. You already know how to solve that problem. You buy paint, you find paint process, and you can find videos on how to paint your walls, and there are ready-made solutions available. On top of that is complicated domain where simple web pages, for example, can be like one-page web apps, for example. So problem is quite clear, and you know you need to choose from a couple of different front-end frameworks, for example, to do the website. Over on the left side is the complex ones, where the distance between cause and effect starts to come further apart of each other. So you have multiple solutions to multiple problems. So you need to try something. If that works, you need to use your previous knowledge, and then you'll find the solution. In the chaotic domain, you can think of like a power outage or a catastrophic failure of a service. So you don't know what works. There's no you don't know what works, what will solve. So you need to do something, and then try. If that works, then try something else. And in the middle, there's confusion where you don't really know where you're at. But I'm not going to go too deep on that. But the scope of digital products is usually somewhere here, centering on the complex domain, going on over to the complicated. Sometimes we are in the chaotic domains when we encounter different contexts and situations. And the thing common to these domains is that there is absence of ready-made solutions to every problem. So we need to do iterative thinking, iterative development. That's one reason why agile methods are usually working, is because if it's that empirical background to development and finding solutions to problems that are complex. All right, that's about it for the theory background. So here are a couple of situations we found ourselves in sometimes. So a team or a organization can come to us and they say that we don't know any at all what works anymore. So everything is falling apart. can you do something about it? Come help us. Or we are following all the good best practices, and our teams are agile, and we do everything by the book, but still our releases are failing. So what is the problem? And yeah, that's the core part of this speech today. So how to find out what is lying behind these kind of situations. So where to start? Of course, you need to assess the situation and study your surroundings. Where are you at? And be ready to adjust your perception of knowledge. Remember that Dunning-Kruger effect. So you might initially have some ideas already that what's wrong, but be ready to push them aside for a bit. And you need to know enough in order to move forward, and always remain humble that you might not know everything from the start. Yeah, and as I said, the more you know, the more you are aware that there are usually lots of things happening at the same time which affect the situation at hand. So you should aim to know enough, and know enough is to understand what's important to this audience or the teams to be able to assist and think of solutions to their problems. You don't need to know everything. And you can, of course, gain knowledge in various different ways. For example, doing some kind of different maturity assessments or other ways. But having a structured way of finding out the situation and the solutions to it is the key to have an effective study. So we will walk through a structured way to gain that knowledge and how to pass it on to the audience. So the audience here can be your team, multiple teams, entire organization, or other stakeholders. So the stakeholders can be various people or teams. Then another tool we are using is from design thinking background called Double Diamond. It's a tool to gain knowledge on something and think of solutions to it. So it's a diverge and converge type of tool. So it usually has two big stages like research and design, and it starts from the left-hand side. We have this perceived problem like the one I presented before, that we are doing everything by the book, but still we fail, for example. Then we explore what are the possible reasons and how do people see the situation. We diverge. We get all the information we can get. Then we define and categorize the situation, and we came up with some kind of problem definitions or prototypes of problems. Then we use co-creation methods, for example, to explore the solutions and diverge on the themes that we found out in the first stage. And in the end, we document things and create a plan moving forward. So this is the basis for this model. Okay, so how to get started? I usually like to talk to people, so I like to interview people. So I start usually with interviews. And we are now in the first stage, so we interview people to get as much information as we can get. I like one-to-one interviews because if you do this in a group situation, people can be intimidated by the others, and there you might not get the nuances you get from one-to-one discussions. It's always good to be open-minded in the situations, and just let the information come to you and capture it in a meaningful way. And that's kind of raw data for you moving forward. And important part of the interviews is that letting people speak and not getting in their way and not like pushing your ideas at this stage at all. So let them just tell you about how their days are going and what kind of trouble they have in their daily work, for example. Because these often contain some golden nuggets for us to move on in the future. So I usually like to reserve time like 60 minutes for the interviews, and the sample size of people to interview is also important to get right. So if you interview too many people, then you get too much of raw data to process. So you need to get your sample size, so to speak, correct. And important is to get a balanced view on the team and the organization. So even if the problems I'm trying to solve are quality problems, I talk with everyone I can get. So developers, testers, people in operations. Customer service is always good one to talk to because they are in the interface of end customers and the developments. So they really know the day-to-day quality of the products. I talk to product people, project management. There might be some money issues behind things, etc. So try to have a balanced and holistic, like a bunch of people to talk to. So how to organize the situation? The important thing here is to have people talking and not following scripts. So I usually have some questions beforehand, but usually the flow of events takes over and people just talk about their important things. Sometimes I need to guide them a bit with questions, but usually not so much. But you can have a background or backbone questions like for moving forward if the interview is not like very responsive. So and the important part is also that you say that the interviewees are having a safe place and safe situation to talk about things, and the important part is to get the data. It's not important who said it at this stage. So it's not a blame game. We are in this together to try to solve situations, and that's important to get right also to the interviews, so they can be as straightforward as possible. Of course, even if we say that interviewer can be allowed to say anything, sometimes you get the feeling that there might be some management behind that opinion they are saying or how they are describing the problem. But then you must encourage them to speak their mind. What do you really think about the thing? But yeah, it's always different and depends on your organization and the culture in the company, for example. All right. Now we have all the interviews done. Usually I try to set the limits in about 30 people I interview. I try to get these kind of assessments done in like a couple of weeks, 4 weeks usually, 4 or 5 weeks. So having a lot of more people just adds time in this kind of categorization parts of the process. So now we are converging this information we got from the interviews. So we categorize things. So usually already at this point, when you have interviewed 10 people, you start to see things emerging. So there are like common things that people are talking about: our test environments, our test data, communication, silos everywhere, things like that. So by now you have a rough idea that what's going on, but you need to define the problems, and that's done by categorizing things. And sometimes you can find an undercurrent or a like hidden problems within the organization, even though anyone hasn't said them out loud. But you might have like internal issues coming up, or something like organizational politics or something like that coming up also. That can affect the quality of the end products. So what do? We discard irrelevant information, so like redundant stuff, and identify those important themes. So a lot of information is usually overlapping, and that's why we need to set the size of the interviewing crowd to be like proper size, also to save our own time, but also to like it doesn't improve the end result. And when we are moving forward to co-creation phase, we need to start thinking about themes we want to work on. So when we start to figure out how to solve these actual problems, we need to have some themes to work on. So that's important in this stage. How do we do it? Well, it's up to you. I use like Excel a lot. I use different kinds of mind maps. I iterate the data. Any data mangling tool you like to use, it's okay, and it's usable here. Just keep in mind that goal of getting the data in like good shape, that you can see the patterns emerge. Yes. So you might end up in a situation where there are things like latency versus throughput. For some people, latency is more important than throughput. But are these the same kind of category of problems or not? This is the most labor-intensive part of the process to like crunch the raw data and get these themes out of it, because it's not numerical data. It's purely qualitative data, and that's like the most labor-intensive part of the process. Okay, now we approach the stage where we have some rough problems defined. So we have some themes to work on. A couple of themes is good enough. Now we take on the audience again, and then we explore possible solutions. So we diverge our things once again. And so begins our design stage. So why we do this is that first these are done after the interviews, so we get a lot of data, and then it's important to start forming ideas, and from the interviews we can get the rough idea what the problems are, but these themes need to be worked on together with the group. And to start to form ideas of solutions, they don't need to be like totally ready solutions yet, but just ideas what might work. Yes. So what do? We do usually sessions like workshops. Each workshop might have 2 to 4 different themes we work on. I think that ideal is about 2 hours long, so it doesn't tire the people too much, and they can really get their creativity flowing. You need to be strict with your time boxing and conducting the workshops, of course. And who to participate in these workshops? I generally propose that everybody I have interviewed would participate. Different people can participate in different themed workshop, and you can organize them as you like. But it's generally a good thing to have also the as holistic as possible audience in these workshops. If there's some people you want to bring to discuss about a specific subject, then you might want to have some outside or other expertise coming into the workshops. So how do we conduct this? I think the main part is to tell everyone that you can go wild with ideas. So there's no budget, there's no time limit, there is no limits you must obey here. So sky's the limit in ideation. And remember, we are now converging. So as techniques, basic retrospective techniques works usually pretty well. So I have a 10 to 20 minutes time to think of ideas for each theme. Then, for example, vote on most important ones. Then use some further time to think of solutions and move from there. So this usually gets some concrete ideas on the table and to work on later. So yes. Sometimes when you're in these sessions, you can have a situation where everyone is just silent and no sticky notes are appearing in the Miro board or in the whiteboards, and people can be like, I don't have any idea what to do. But then you as a facilitator, you should have some ideas, techniques to get the creative juices flowing and have some games or tell a bad joke or something to get people going. Or it might be that you have invited from people to the workshops. That can happen also. And then you need to just adjust things as they go. But usually people are really people are willing to improve their ways of working. They are willing to improve the quality of their products. So usually this is not a huge problem, but it can happen. All right, the report. The findings, solutions, recommendations going forward. Now we are in the another converge stage of our double diamond here. So now is the time to use your knowledge and your recommendations and also put yourself in and your expertise into play. So you need to start bringing up these to get these workshop results and also interview results in together to move forward. So now we got loads and loads of information. So we quite simply narrow the data set once again. So we have now sets of possible solutions to different themes. We have data from the interviews. We have our own ideas we can throw in how to improve things, and these are all good. Pick them up, and then you might need to do some refining also. So the reason for why we document these things in the end is these end results of these assessment processes are many times used in internal dynamics of the companies and teams. So they are used in rationalizing change, for example, that to the management, for example, or hire new people in the team, get new skills for the team, for example, and do some changes. And having a like outside facilitator to do that usually helps getting that information. And it also often helps to have people outside to have a fair and like balanced view of your situation. But also you need to have some actionable results from the whole journey. So propose actions like in a roadmap form or a task list or something like that. The actions here are also important to move forward with the client and etc. The format here is up to you. So it should have like selected key findings from the journey, from the interviews and from the workshops. It should have proposed actions to move forward or from the design phase and also calls to action like a roadmap or a other kind of way to present things going forward. So these are the common things to have in the end report, and so sometimes that document itself is valuable when negotiating change inside an organization, but for the participants, this journey there is more important often, so they can reflect their ideas with their colleagues, and that's also very beneficial oftentimes. So you don't know what you know until you find out. And yeah, this is one way to do decision and problem solving in a structured way. So there's the double diamond once again. But thank you for this, and feel free to contact me in the hallways if you see me, and I think we are now ready for questions.
Yes, we are. I just checked that we have a lot of questions. Congratulations, Jani. Yeah. I'm checking the questions. So, what are your questions in a one-on-one interview for ice breaking?
Yeah, good question. Well, I usually start by asking what you do. What kind of day is your typical work day or work week? How do you use your like what kind of things move you in your daily work, for example? So kind of basic questions usually.
The next question is, how do you select the right people to interview?
Yeah, this can be tricky, and this myself being a consultant and like coming from outside to companies, it's hard for me to influence the people to interview, but I try to stress that I need to talk to these kind of roles and different kind of people, as different as possible. So not only developers, not only testers, but also customer service, also product people, and try to emphasize this in the start of the process.
Okay, our third question is, workshops work when people have good awareness of solutions. Have you needed to raise awareness of solution before agreeing on solutions?
I'd say that workshops work well when you got good themes to work on. So I like to concentrate to define the themes that have come up in the interviews, for example, and describe them well enough so people understand what the theme is about, and it's about describing it so that people can relate to it. So it can be tricky sometimes, but you need to work on that.
Well, now we have 2 more questions left. Do you have a proposal on a common set of labels that could be used in analyzing data to get to problems?
Yeah. Sometimes I joke that I could put communication problems in the report before the process even starts, because those are really usual. Different kinds of people-to-people problems are really common. They can be about hierarchy in the organization, or just bad relationships between people, knowledge, information not flowing, silos everywhere. Especially in hardware companies, test environments, test data can be really hard to get right, to be able to do good quality testing, for example, and stuff like that. So there are quite a lot of common labels that can be used, but don't be tempted to use them beforehand. So they might change when you go forward.
And the last question is knowing with an assessment better before doing better than experimenting with best practices and observing their impact to teams?
Yeah, good question. Well, it depends. Sometimes you don't get access to teams to start experimenting and deriving the problems from experimentation, even though that might be from the team perspective, the quicker solution. Sometimes you need to do a broader research to convince the managers, for example, that okay, we need to do these kind of changes in the teams, so to move forward. So that's my thoughts on that.
One more question. Oh, we're getting questions,
Hey,
and we have time. So I'm not sure if you're happy, but questions are flowing.
Good.
So,
good.
How do you validate the effectiveness of the solutions in the long run? New interviews, set of benchmarks.
Yes, this is important. How to get feedback and how to improve things in the long run. One way of doing this is to have teams do self-assessments, for example, that you have a set of questions to follow up in the future. That how are we going? How things are moving? How well are we really changing things, and how and improving things. So repeating interviews or these kind of questionnaires are good tools for that, for example.
How do you actually measure knowledge, skills?
If you don't achieve your goals with your current tool set, if the quality of your work is lacking with your current knowledge and skill set, then new skills might be in place. And it's hard to measure knowledge and skills. You can go to courses, you can get, certifications, for example, but they measure what is tested there. So it's hard to quantify knowledge type of things or skill type of things. So it's about how well do you do in your work, and because sometimes you don't know that you lack skills, so you cannot tell that by yourself, but having this kind of looking around you might reveal things.
Next question. What do you think of using anonymous surveys instead of one-on-one interviews? Could it be enough in a mature team?
One-on-one interviews are harder to do, takes more time, but they also reveal information that you cannot get from like anonymous surveys. So it's a bit like exploring with testing and automating testing. So you might miss something important when you are not talking to people directly and letting them come to you and speak about their issues in their work.
Okay, you can.
But well, to answer the question is that it might be enough in a really mature team, but even then, I wouldn't say that it's the only solution. So also let people speak by their own language and not through ready-made questionnaires.
Okay, so you just answered the first question. You answered already the second one, so we have 3 more left and almost the same likes. Would you like to choose one of that? We have only 1 minute left and 1 more question, and that's why I asked you to choose.
I'll choose the one from Adam. So, Adam, how does a problem definition look like in the middle of the diamonds? Yeah, for me, it's like setting a theme for the workshops. For example, increasing the increase reliability in one part of the product, or having more meaningful planning, for example, for the product. How to involve quality people more in other parts of the development and stuff like that. So they also usually look like a themes for further discussion. So they are not solutions yet, but a themes for a discussion and to be discussed in a workshop setting, for example.